Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about how to outline manifestations step by step with success stories so that you can get exactly what you want in a precise way. This is a Neville Goddard style step-by-step instruction teaching so that we can implement what we learn and get exactly what we want. Before we begin, I have to tell you, I have a worksheet with this. Go into the description and download it if you want to break down your manifestations like me and like Neville. Also, hit the like button. It does something to the algorithm so that those who would not normally be able to see this video will be able to see it. Hit the subscribe button if you want very specific, broken down, bite-sized, pragmatic teachings on how to manifest anything that you want. Hit the bell icon just to make sure that you stay up to date with my channel. So let's just jump right into this then. My personal experience has been that I've had a lot of trouble in my life. I had to learn the hard way how to manifest. My life was not easy, and ultimately it took me over 10 years of systematic testing of how to manifest to get to the point where I am today. And I started from teacher A to B to C to D and all the way on and on, specifically putting it to the test. But one thing that really helped me to learn how to manifest and to buy into this with all my heart was that I received some extreme mystical experiences when I was probably 21 years old that changed my life forever. And it took me many years to find Neville Goddard, but he had the same exact ones as me. So for me personally, I've put everything he said to the test. And ultimately, after testing out what all other manifestation teachers teach, comparing them to my own personal experiences, I have found that these are the most accurate. And so breaking down manifestations in the sense of, imaginal acts, which are the building block that create our reality, is a crucial skill that if you learn how to master it, you will be able to master your reality. This technique has worked for so many people, and so many people have messaged me for this specific video topic itself. Now, what is an imaginal scene? An imaginal scene is what we bring forth into our imagination and play in our imagination, which will then in turn impress our subconscious mind, which will in turn manifest on the screen of space. So that is the basic process of manifesting. However, if we break it down even further and more towards the essence of manifesting, the idea, and the only requirement to manifest what you want is to be conscious of it acutely, to the point to which it seeps into your subconscious mind. So whatever you embody in your consciousness will constantly be pushed out on the screen of space. And that's physical reality. We always have been manifesting. We always will be manifesting. So the question is, how do we take control so that we don't keep manifesting randomly? Think of your current state. How is your life in health, wealth, love, happiness, spirituality, and friendships? What if you could break all of those down and contemplate it and think, am I where I ultimately want to be? Do I think that I could be doing better? Would other aspects of my life modified make a happier life for myself? And so you think of these ideas and aspects of your life, and then you really start to get an idea of, am I where I want to be? Now, again, this is a new year, and so that's why I bring up these certain aspects. We want to make big changes, and we have the power to do that. Our consciousness is the God that created all of our experience external. And I'm not going to go into the scripture today on it, but you can look at my other videos to do that. But nevertheless, are we where we want to be? And then how do we get to where we want to go? But given that we've always been manifesting, always are manifesting, always will be manifesting, that there's nothing that we can experience external that hasn't first originated in the mind, we need to figure out how to impress the subconscious mind properly, how to embody a conscious state properly so that we can manifest our exact results properly. And I want to give you an exact example of how this works, something I've said before, but it's super critical that'll give you a little bit of hope and inspiration. So, the subconscious mind, generally speaking, accepts bite-sized pieces of information. This is a very important aspect of manifestation, because we realize then, and I've done this incorrectly so many times for many years, imagined extremely long imaginal scenes, and then only bits and pieces of them were pushed out. And sometimes the critical aspect of the scene that I wanted, the main point of the scene, was not manifested. I'm sure this has happened to either you, or if you ask someone who manifests, it's probably happened to them. And so short scenes or short bite-sized aspects of your consciousness, if you can hold them in there and repeat them, will be pushed in. Which brings it to the second point that I just said, repetition. So when we repeat an imaginal act, it will ensure more accurately that we will have it impressed on the subconscious mind. Because remember, and I'll say it again, your subconscious mind is essentially the garden from which all are manifested. Now, this could mean your belief systems. It could be your memories. It could be your expectations. Whatever, and your imaginal acts also exist within the subconscious mind. Essentially, anything that gets past the conscious mind will enter into the subconscious mind and thus be manifested out. It is guaranteed that it will be manifested out on the screen of space. And so, ultimately, from that point, we realize, okay, we're making bite-sized pieces, we're looping it, but how do we define a scene that we know for sure will get us the results that we want? So again, this is something I faltered a lot on. This is something that a lot of teachers teach a lot of crap about that are not true, that are not accurate. The key is the replicating aspect of the consciousness, which means that which we hold within our consciousness, that which we impress upon the subconscious mind, will be replicated outward on the screen of space. That means not a likeness of it, not something similar. It's not drawing in the essence of it. Whatever is there will be copied exactly. And there's a story that I heard about someone who was imagining that they were with this specific person, doing all these things in their apartment, pouring one a drink, and basically just a scene specifically that was looped over and over in the mind. And then ultimately what happened was the individual who told me the story entered into the person's apartment, and that person was sitting down, right? But the person was acting rude, like they should be catered to, asked for a drink, asked for this, asked for that. And then the imaginer, and this is in real life at this point, was getting infuriated, angry, aggravated that the person was treating them like this. I mean, it was in the end, finally, this person realized that it was because they imagined this exact scene, but without certain emotions involved, essentially. The actions were manifested, but this person created it without the essence of love and gratitude and etc. And so that which is held within the conscious mind will be replicated outward on the screen of space. So we need to be able to define exactly what we want, exactly like we want it. In the case of an imaginal scene, and I'll give you an example now, I, at one point, was agonizing over my work. This is before I had this YouTube channel. It was before I had my business. I was working as a software engineer for a company in downtown San Diego. And the way that I obtained that job was via a manifestation itself. I had just imagined that I had secured a position. I got an offer letter. And then my consciousness, right, the manifestation drew in multiple possibilities for a job. And then ultimately I landed the perfect job for me. But ultimately, later on, things begin to change. Now, the reason they begin to change is because our consciousness changes, or things are there in front of us to make way for a bigger manifestation ultimately. So things began to shift. I started to micromanage the entire company via my manifestations. They didn't assign me a task I wanted. I would imagine that I would get that task. They wanted to remove a project. I manifested that they brought back the project. At one point, they literally wanted to take me off the program language that I had been using for such a long time. And then I had to manifest myself staying in that position. Nevertheless, I was allowing my consciousness to manifest things that I truly didn't care about, or I was wasting my energy, basically, because things kept collapsing and I kept drawing them in, etc. All by the mind, all by manifesting. And ultimately I thought, what is it that I'm disliking and what is it that I really want? So ultimately, since I was a child, I've always wanted to do my own thing. I'm not built for working for other people. It's just not really what I am good at. I don't like it. I need to be creative. I need to be able to do whatever I want. And obviously within reason, right? But so I figured that at that point I was going to manifest myself having the traits that I wanted. I want to be able to work from wherever I wanted. I wanted to be able to travel. I wanted to be able to work as much or as little as I wanted. And I wanted to be happy while doing it. And so I took that as the criteria. And this is how we manifest exactly what we want. This is how we build a scene. This is how we outline things. Outlining a scene is absolutely critical because within the scene itself that we outline, we can use different aspects of reality, different dimensions of reality, such as senses, taste, touch, hearing, smelling. And we can use each of those as a different aspect of our desire. So I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I knew my criteria, right? Remote, my own thing, doing whatever I wanted, going wherever I wanted, working as much or as little as I wanted, and to be grateful doing it. Now, in the past, I had tried to deliberately specify that my marketing business was going to work, my programming business was going to take off, my web design business was going to take off, and advertising business take off, on and on and on. Ultimately, it brought me through a path of mastering certain traits of these industries, but some of these had collapsed. I knew. And it was mainly because I was miserable doing these things, so my heart wasn't in it. But at this point, I had my criteria that I really wanted, right? And you can see how I asked myself, why do I want this business, right? That's a key. And from there, I started to map things out. What scene would imply that all of these aspects that I desire are true, that I already have them? What would I be doing if all of these aspects were true? And so that is when I started to write out my scene. So the scene was, and I talk about, like I said, I've talked about this before, just not in this context. The scene was, I was on a deck staring at some foliage in some foreign place, right, a different country. I didn't even specify where. I closed my laptop and I said to this person that I was with, I'm so grateful that it's Wednesday and I'm already done working. So in my mind, that was the embodiment, right? That was all those criteria melted into one little short condensed scene because we can tick off the different aspects of requirements. It needs to be loopable, easy to imagine, simple, short, concise. Very simple process. And so from there, I visualized that. I just relaxed, took deep breaths, calmed down, focused on my breathing, started counting backwards. And after a few minutes, I brought forth the imaginal scene, the one that I just demonstrated for you. And I just began to loop it over and over and over and over and over again. And from that point forward, after I did that, I didn't imagine it again. And then within weeks or within a month, someone reached out to me, asked if I wanted, or if she would allow me, if I would allow her to read one of my blog posts on her YouTube channel. I said yes. I said, I'm not making a channel though. She though, however, when she recorded this, said, look out for Joseph Alai's upcoming YouTube channel. It put me on the spot enough to do it again, to make my own channel and read my own stuff. And then from there, I started being on film. And then from there, I started coaching. And then from there, I started doing the VIP, which is an awesome thing. And everything just blew up. And then one day, I think it was about a year later, when I was thinking about this the other day. It was about a year later. I was in Thailand doing a workshop and outside on a deck staring into the foliage. And then I closed my laptop and I talked to the person with me. I don't know exactly what I said, but it was about a few minutes later where I finally realized that that was the exact replication of my imaginal act. And that drives the point home. Define the characteristics that imply your end. Make sure that scene is happening if and only if your desire had been fulfilled. And loop it over and over, and it will be pushed out in the exact nature that you imagined it. And I hope that was helpful to you. Again, if you want to do that, I have an outline. Go in the description, download that. hit the like button, hit the subscribe button for more very broken down systematic methods on manifesting whatever you want in bite-sized chunks. Hit the subscribe button so that you can just stay up to date, and then stay tuned for the next video. And check out the rest that I have if you want more information on exacting manifesting.